ఎందుకు ప్రాబ్లం అయింది? మ్యాచ్ నంబర్
క్లాస్ నడుస్తుందా?
క్లాస్ ఇంకా స్టార్ట్ అవ్వలేదు.
మీరు 8 o'clock కదా? That number should on your
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Did
How
it
are you?
start?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, we are waiting for Bhaya Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu.
I
Hare
saw
Krishna, devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We saw Bhaya just before, and I think he reconnecting or something.
Okay.
Oh, was Prabhu on?
Yes, true.
Okay.
Yeah, it is joining.
Yeah, okay.
He just joined.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhu.
My apologies. I had another meeting just before that, and that kind of ran. Sorry about that. So we'll start with the Mangalacharna, and then we will continue with the presentation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayavudire Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtiki Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachanam pangam langyate girem yatkrapatamaham vande Shri Gurudina Taranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Guru Paramananda Premanand Palapada Ujananda Pidananda Sri Vayamani Ujaya. Hare Krishna. So we have 3 verses that are left in our NOI. Last week we finished with verse 8. So if we can start with verse 9. We can start.
Okay, Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, let me share my screen. Share screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen.
Okay. All right. So this is verse 9 of Nectar of Instruction.
Prabhu, just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You may want to go into presentation mode. That makes it a little bit cleaner and it gets more space.
How would I do that?
So you go to slideshow.
Slideshow. Oh yeah, here.
Right. I'll just say not now.
So it says try it.
No, just say not now. That's just some promotion.
Okay.
And then go to from current slide, the second button from the left.
Oh, okay. This one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's much better.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I hardly use this. Okay. All right. So this so verse and translation. I'm going to read the verse and translation. Vaikunta janito varamadupuri tatrapi rasotsavad Vrindaranyam udarapaniramanā tatrapi govardhana Radha kundam ihapi gokulapathe prema mruta plavanat kuryadasya virajato giritade sevam vivekinaka. Translation. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikunta, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Madhurapuri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavana because of Krishna's Rasalila pastimes, and superior to the forest of Vrindavana is Govardhana Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kunda stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of Lord Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who's unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhana Hill? So basically, this verse describes the hierarchy of various dhams in Radha Kunda. With Radha Kunda as the topmost. So this chart is the summary of this text. So it depicts all the dhamas like dhams like Vaikunta, Mathura, Vrindavana, and Govardhana, and so why they are superior to the others. So it describes here. Let's go get into the details. So I prepared these points from the purport of the text. So it's the spiritual world is 3/4 of the total creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is superior to the material world. Mathura and the adjoining areas of the material world are considered superior to the spiritual world because the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself appeared there. The interior forests of Vrindavan are considered superior to Mathura because of the presence of the 12 forests, which are famous for various pastimes of the Lord. Thus, the interior Vrindavana forest is considered superior to Mathura. So, little description about the 12 forests. It's out of these 12 forests, 7 are on the western side of Yamuna, and they are Madhuvan, Pralavan, Kumudavan, Bahulavan, Kamyavan, Kadiravan, and Vrindavan. And remaining 5 are on the eastern side of Yamuna, and they are Bhadravan, Bandarivan, Bandiravan, Baulavan, Lohavan, and Mahavan. The divine Govardhana Hill is superior to these forests because Krishna lifted the entire Govardhana Hill on at once with his left hand and held it up like an umbrella to protect the denizens of Raja from torrential rains sent by angry Indra. Krishna, and another reason is Krishna tends cows with his cowherd friends at Govardhana Hill. Krishna had his rendezvous with his most beloved Sri Radha and engaged in loving pastimes with her. The Radha Kunda, which is at the foot of Govardhana Hill, is superior to all because love of Krishna overflows here. advanced devotees prefer to reside at Radha Kunda because this place is the site of many memories of the eternal loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited Rajabhumi, he searched for exact location of Radha Kunda. He found a small pond. He took bath in that pond and told his devotees that the actual Radha Kunda was situated there. Later, the pond was excavated by Lord Chaitanya's devotees, headed by six Goswamis such as Rupa Raghunatha Dasa. Presently, there is a large lake known as Radhakunda. Srila Rupa Goswami has given much stress to Radhakunda because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it. Who then would give up Radhakunda and try to reside elsewhere? No person with transcendental intelligence would do so. The importance of Radhakunda cannot be realized by other Vaishnava Sampradayas, nor can persons uninterested in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understand the spiritual importance and divine nature of Radhakunda. Thus, Radhakunda is mainly worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for. I like the chart. Can you put that up once again? The very first slide.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so Vaikuntha.
Yeah.
mm,
Vaikuntha, Mathura, Vrindavana, Govardhana.
So technically Vaikuntha is not 3/4, but everything combined, Vaikuntha, Mathura, Vrindavan, they are 3/4. And the spiritual world is 3/4 of the creation.
Yeah, so I thought spiritual world is Vaikuntha itself. Right? There's so many like unlimited planets in the Vaikuntha, right? Vaikuntha planets.
The difference is that Vaikuntha is ruled by Lord Narayan in the full form, and then everything else that you have, the Mathura, Vrindavan, they're all presided by the two-armed form of, or let me take that back. Even Mathura, no, yeah, everything else is by the two-armed form of Krishna. So Vaikuntha is Aishwarya, and if you go from left to right, then progressively the Madhurya component in Aishwarya increases. Like Mathura is mixed because Krishna is a prince over there, but there is also intimate dealings of Krishna, right? So it is Aishwarya and Madhurya. In Vrindavan, Krishna does not have any Aishwarya Bhav, right? Nobody considers Krishna to be like God or king. So the component of Madhurya is more. And by the time you reach Radhakund, then it's pure Krishna Prema, right? Mahabhava of Srimati Radharani. Right. That's the distinction. And in the Brahma Samhita, when the structure of the universe is given, then it's explained that there is the material world, and above the material world are the Vaikuntha planets ruled by the four-armed forms. So above the material world, everything is 3/4 now. Everything inclusive is 3/4. In that 3/4, there is Vaikuntha, Mathura, Vrindavan. Govardhan and Radhakund are actually within Vrindavan, but that's how the delineation is.
Okay, so
this is very nice. I like it. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to group 4 for verses 10 and 11.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So this is group 4 presenting the last two texts of NOI, text 10 and 11. I want to say obeisances to our Guru here, Bhaya Prabhu, as well as Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So text 10, Karmibhya parito hare priyatya vraktim yajur gyani nastobhyo gyan vimukta bhakti parama prema nishtastata te bhasyata pasupala pankajadrasyatabhyo pise radhika raste tadva iyam tadiya sarasitam twadiyam tadisya sarasitam nakshate yekta krati. So focus of this text is basically summarizing the types of fruitive workers and fruitive workers, and as we do our devotional service, how that helps to liberate us to higher levels of devotion and brings us closer to Lord Hare Krishna. So as we all know, we are all living entities in this material world under the spell of Maya, working and being engaged in fruitive activities, just to gain material profits by working. And thus we are come under the classification of karmis, or fruitive workers, where we are basically working like dogs and hogs, hard to get money for sense gratification and other material satisfactions. Sometimes when we do execute some pious activities in this lifetime or the previous, some of us karmis get elevated to heavenly planets, but after exhausting those pious activities, they turn back to earth, which is called Mrityu Loka, as was stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.21. So such persons can be elevated to heavenly planets, but where they can enjoy for thousands of years and other things. But because they are karmis and they remain attached to fruitive activities, we have to return back to earth when the results of pious activities get exhausted. As described in Bhagavatam 5.5.4. Among the karmis, there are some vikarmis who act without Vedic knowledge and are engaged in impious activities that are degraded further, who takes birth as lower life levels like animals, trees, and plants. Karmis are considered superior to vikarmis because they are faithful to the directions of Vedas. So that was the difference between karmis and vikarmis. Then there's the third category, called jnanis, as we have learned before. They are considered a little superior to karmis because they refrain from the blind activities of sense enjoyment, and they are definitely closer to Krishna as they're following the Vedic principles, as well as and they are refraining from sense enjoyment. It is being said that that we should understand and clarify our focus on that we are the soul and not the body, which is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, which is also called Atma Tattva, and which also helps us to come out from the platform of ignorance. As one performs devotional service, it rapidly becomes superior to an ordinary jnani, and the reference is Bhagavad Gita 7.19. After taking devotional service and regulative principles, under regulative principles, a person becomes much closer to Godhead, following footsteps of some great examples of our devotees that are given, like Narada, Sanaka, and Sanatana. Of all devotees, the gopis, of course, are recognized as the most superior ones because they don't know anything other than satisfying Krishna. Their whole life, every moment of their life is dedicated as in service of Krishna. And they do not expect anything in return. So they're not bargaining with Krishna like most of us do. Indeed, sometimes Krishna even puts them in separation to test their focus and their commitment. And as we have seen and read in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, but nonetheless, they do not forget Krishna. Thus, gopis are the superior devotees of all. Because there is no difference of thinking of Krishna and then associating with him via service. Actually, it is said that devotees who actually are engaged in thinking of Krishna in separation, which is called Vipralamba Seva, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. Thus, all devotees who have developed this devotional love for Krishna, the devotees, among the devotees, the gopis are the most exalted. And then going one further step, among the devoted, the exalted gopis, Srimati Radharani is the highest. There is no one who can excel in devotion service than Srimati Radharani. So she's the supreme devotee and most beloved by the Lord. Sometimes even Krishna cannot understand the attitude of Srimati Radharani, and thus we know that he appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand that transcendental feelings and dedication and devotion towards the Lord Krishna. Just as Srimati Radharani is dear, her bathing place, which is also called Radha Kund, is equally dear to Krishna also. Thus, the focus for everyone who is interested in serving Krishna and is engaged in Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter in Radha Kund and execute devotional service there throughout their life. That should be the goal. Going to text 11. Krishna Syocho Che Pranaya Vasti Prayasobhyo Pi Radha Kunda Chasya Munibhir Abhaktir Ta Drag Ev Vedhai Yat Prasthir Api Alam Asulabham Kim Punar Bhakti Bhajan Tad Pramedam Sakra Api Sara Sanutar Avishkuroti. So basically, this text is dedicated and summarizing how Srimati Radharani is the most beloved, and undoubtedly Radha Kund is the most sacred places and equally dear to Krishna, and whoever imparts the service to Radha Kund, which is very rarely attained by great devotees, can have this pure love aroused in their hearts. So Radha Kund is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani, which is the most exalted devotee and most beloved to Krishna. So it is described by the great sages that it is the dearest to Krishna, as the Radha Kund is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself. It's the most sacred and selected place for those who are interested in advancing devotional service. As it was said earlier, it is rarely attained even by great devotees who are fully engaged in devotional service. So what to speak of us? It is stated that devotees will be at once develop pure love for Krishna as gopis, and if he once takes bath in Radha Kund, that pure love will be developed in one's heart. Sri Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot permanently live there and serve Radha Kund every day, at least should take bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is the most essential thing in the execution of devotional service. It is recommended that one should live on the bank of Radha Kund and be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord, should take bath there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter in Sri Radharani and her assistant gopis. If one is constantly engaged during the lifetime After giving their body, they returned to Godhead to serve Radharani in the same way they contemplated while they were serving at Radhakund, the banks of Radhakund. And to live on the banks of Radhakund and to bathe daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. So ending it, of course, it's summarizing that there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radhakund. And serving there, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Sri Radharani under the internal guidance of the gopis and serve Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, thank you for your time, devotees.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Very nice selection of pictures and flow of presentation. Thank you for that. So we are at the end of the NOI, which was the last book in our course. So before I open the floor for questions, I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about the exam. So the exam that we'll get is the combined exam of Nectar of Instruction and Isupnishad. The format will be pretty much the same. So you have gotten the verses to memorize. There are 6 verses, 4 from NOI, verses 1 to 4, 2 from Isupnishad, the invocation and the first mantra. And again, there'll be 2 verses that Sanskrit and English will be asked, each one of them 10. There's no specific ask, or at least there's no specific stipulation that one has to be from NOI, one has to be from Isupnishad. It kind of depends on how you pick. So essentially, the verses will be a mixture of NOI and Isupnishad verse, but you can pick the ones that you'd like to ask, for obvious reasons, because in Isupnishad there are only 2 verses. Other than that, there are 16 questions, short answer type questions. 8 of them will be for NOI, and 8 of them will be for Isupnishad. The only other thing I would like to also add is that once the devotees ask for the question paper, the expectation is that they turn it around and submit it ideally within a few hours, but no more than 24 hours. So I'm being a little lenient over here. There are some devotees who asked for a question paper and they've been sitting with the question paper for weeks and even months. And while I have full faith on the integrity of the devotees that they're not reading the question paper, but the format is that once you get the question paper, you should only ask for the question paper when you are ready to answer it, and then you should answer it and send it back. So try and follow that. Don't ask for a question paper if you're not ready, or don't ask for it and say that I'll answer it next week, or they ask for it next week. And there. Once the last exam is done, like I said, there's a month from today that basically is the period to finish the exams. Most of the devotees have just 1 exam to write. Maybe there are a few that have 2 exams to write, but most of them have 1 to write. So I'm expecting almost everybody to finish their exam well before the month, but the month is there, so I'll wait for a month. After that, I'll send out a note saying that the course is closed. I'll compile the grades, send it to the ISKCON Board of Education. They will send me the certificates electronically, and I have your email addresses. I will email the certificates to you. While I do record the grades don't appear on the certificates, and I also don't share the grades. So I don't come up with a ranking that this person is number 1, 2, 3. As long as the person has a pass grade, from my perspective, they're all the same. But nevertheless, for my record, I do keep the numerical grades of the devotees. That is about it. Any question about what I've said so far, just in terms of the logistic of the last exam and the certification process? Okay, very good. So yeah, it's more of the same. Having said that, I just wanted to open the floor. Okay, yeah, we have a question. Shobhamai Mataji, please go ahead.
Dandavad pranams, Prabhuji. Thank you for the class. It was wonderful. Enjoyed every sessions of the class. And Prabhuji, is it okay? We can join the Bhakti Vaibhav class with you after the exam?
You can join. The only I guess consideration is that I'm currently doing the 14th chapter of the 5th canto. So you would be joining midstream the course. You can join it for an audit from an audit perspective, but not from a certification perspective. Right. I will on the Bhakti Sastri group, I will post the details of the Bhakti Vaibhav class. And for those who have done Bhakti Sastri, it's available. They can join from an audit perspective. And it's informal. So you can come and go as you please. You don't have to make a commitment to join all the classes. But yes, it won't be for certification. It will be for participation.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Ram Tulsi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances of Lord Srila Prabhupada. First, I want to thank you for doing these wonderful classes. I really enjoy listening to your classes online also. And thank you for accepting me as one of your students during this class. And we finally made it through some difficulties also, but we made it. I have a question, Prabhu, about text 3. Just there was a little confusion. I was discussing with another devotee, and I just wanted to clarify. It says briefly describe the two aspects of tat karma pravartanat. Is that idleness and enthusiasm about following the regulative principles? Are those the two aspects?
So this is the Utsa Nishya area, right? So the fourth point is tat karma pravartanat.
Yeah.
Right. The tat karma pravartanat is, so at least the translation is acting according to the regulative principles. And I'm sorry, your question, Mataji, was?
It says briefly describe the two aspects of tat karma pravartanat. So is that idleness and enthusiasm about following the regulative principles? Because I went back and I read it. I read the purport. Went and read some other literature also, and I keep on coming up with that. But I just wanted to clarify with you.
I'm actually inclined to agree with you. I think I'm also reading the purport. As you say, Prabhupada says that one should not be idle, but should be very enthusiastic about executing the devotional service. And then he says that
He talks about
regulatory activities
regulative principles. Yes.
must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So
My take is a little different, that they talk about the yam and the niyam, the two aspects.
okay. So those.
So the yam are basically the prohibitions, and the niyam are the injunctions. So part of it is that you do it, and part of it is like the 4 regulative principles are the yams, that you do not do it. And then the principles like chanting, deity worship, they are the niyams.
Okay.
So that's my understanding. These are the two aspects of the Tat Karma Pravartana, that you do what has been asked to do and you do not do what has been prohibited.
Okay. So is that the way you interpret it then, Prabhu?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Anybody has any? So we can now switch to the Q&A on the NOI.
Yes, this is Vamsigopadas. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thanks for the classes. And finally, it's been like since 4 or 5 years I started, and but not from you, but time has come and I could able to attend, and happy that we all could come to the conclusion in next few weeks. And Prabhu, I have a question about the two qualities of spiritual master. What are the two qualifications of bona fide guru? The first one is he has rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source, that is clear. And the second one, he must practically be firmly established in Brahman. I just want to understand what is the Brahman means here.
Okay. If you don't mind, can you give me the context where you're reading?
This is from the introduction from the Ishopanishad.
Okay.
So this is one of the question, Prabhu. So I remember you telling there are two meanings of the Brahman, but other than that, I didn't remember the more deeper information. So the question number 6 from the Ishopanishad was, what are the two qualifications of bona fide guru? The answer seems to be rightly heard from Vedic message from the right source, and the second qualification is he must practically be firmly established in Brahman. So I just want to understand. I know the answer to right, but in meaning, remembering, but I want to get the essence of it.
What is the understanding of Brahman? I'll have to actually get back to you on. I mean, the first part is of course clear, right? That
Yes, Prabhu.
that so rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source means that he's received it in the parampara, right? That's the first part.
Yeah.
And the second part, firmly established in Brahman. Just reading it here, and the sense I get is it means that the person. So one of the meanings of Brahman also is non-material, spiritual.
Okay.
Right. So we know Brahman also talks about impersonal, but one of the meanings of Brahman also is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And Brahman also means Krishna. But my understanding is that here it talks that the person should be spiritual, because there may be people who have read the Vedas and maybe they have heard from the right source, but they are not situated in practicing what they hear. So they are not qualified to be a guru. A guru should preach both by achar and prachar, so they should be practicing what they preach. That seems to be my understanding, but I'll actually confirm it and I will post in the WhatsApp group.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, like I know you are Bhakti Vaibhav, you are already into a 5th canto, but is there another session you're planning to start? Or miss the boat? Like,
do you know how long it took me to come to the 5th canto?
Few years.
No, we started 4 years ago.
Wow.
So when we started, this is to some extent what the devotees wanted. They wanted to spend time on each and every verse. So currently, Bhakti Vaibhav, I have 2 sessions every week. Each one of them is 90 minutes. So I have 33 hours every week. And over those 3 hours, we are able to do maybe 20 verses. So more by choice, the ask is to go deep and gradually on it. What remains now is, so we are on the 14th verse. The fifth chapter has 31, the fifth canto has 31 verses, 31 chapters, and the sixth canto has 19 chapters. Right. So we have close to about 30 chapters left. Optimistically, I expect this to take about a year because the fifth canto has very small chapters. Most of them are 20 verse, 25 verse, unlike the third chapter, which is very, very long. Third canto is a very long chapter. So I expect it to be finished in about a year's time. Right. And then at least my desire is that my next iteration of Bhakti Vaibhav, we finish it in 2 years as opposed to 5 years. So I'll just need to spend some time to basically, have my study notes organized in that way that I'm able to do the 6 cantos in about 100 weeks. But I have this group, whenever the next iteration starts, I will definitely drop a link and ask. And like I said, in the meantime, I will also send the link of the current group. So anybody is free to join in an audit mode. I think the devotees are very enthusiastic in discussion, so the more the merrier.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, so yes, Bhakti Vinod Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you for this wonderful journey, Bhakti Sastri. Thank you for all that you've done as a service. So I have a question on the verse number 11 for Radha Kund, Nectar of Instruction. So here, Rupa Goswami is saying to take a bath in Radha Kund, but we are not eligible, right? So typically we are not supposed to take a bath and we just sprinkle the water from Radha Kund, but here is being advised that one who takes that bath attains the prema for Krishna. So how do we reconcile, and what can you elaborate on more on that?
It's a good question. There's a little bit of history behind this, that when Srila Prabhupada started taking the devotees to Vrindavan, then he spoke about the glories of Radha Kund, and he would actually encourage them to take a bath in the Radha Kund. And then, they were young devotees, enthusiastic. So then Srila Prabhupada found out that they were essentially using it as a swimming pool. And they were diving into it, and they were playing water games, and in summers they would basically do backstrokes on it. So Srila Prabhupada said, don't take bath in it. Taking water and putting it on your head is the same as taking a bath. So the understanding is that it is not recommended to take a bath without understanding the glories of Radha Kund. And this is true for us, right? So if we enter the Radha Kund in a reverential mode, that yes, this is liquid prema, this is Radharani's body, we are basically partaking of something that is at the highest level of spirituality, then yes, it is very much recommended to take a bath, as long as the mood is there, right? I know once I was doing a parikrama Govardhan, and devotees are devotees. I mean, they were not ISKCON devotees, but so a bunch of devotees who were doing a parikrama, and they were doing it barefoot, so their feet were hurting. So they basically came to Radha Kund and they put their feet inside the water, just to clean up their feet and get some relief, right? And they were like, oh, water feels so good. So that kind of mood is forbidden, right? But yes, I remember I once went with Guru Maharaj. He said, first give obeisances to Radha Kund, then pray for some time, enter into that mood, then take water and put it on your head, then enter the Radha Kund. While you're entering, you can recite some praise to glorify Srimati Radharani, Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi, any praise that you know. And then don't linger there. Just take your bath and then come out. So that devotional mood is recommended.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Rajiv Shyam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for all these sessions. Actually, it has been very enlivening, very engaging discussions with all the devotees. Prabhu, just like we have these, I wouldn't say restrictions, but these rules that we typically should follow for Radha Kund, is that the same kind of mood and same kind of restriction for all the other kundas there, or is it the other kundas like Sham Kunda or Govind Kund that's kind of different?
It's it's a good question. Very similar. So the general understanding is that when you enter the dham, then that's the mood it should be, that you're in. Vrindavan is the highest of the dham, Krishna's personal favorite. Bhami Vrindavan is not different from Golok Vrindavan. So you are in the. So I was fortunate enough that both my first and second initiation were in Vrindavan.
Jai.
So when Maharaj told me that, I'm going to be in Vrindavan at the time, would you like to get your first initiation there? I said, yes, of course, Maharaj. Let me book my tickets right away. But then he also said that, remember, this is Vrindavan. Right? He said, remember, this is Vrindavan. So a lot of potency, but also, with a lot of potency, also there is a need to be very careful there. Now, I don't see that much, but at one point, and this is just personally my experience, Guru Maharaj would say that try to not stay in Vrindavan for more than 3 days, 3-4 days. Because after that, inadvertently, we start doing Dhamma Prats. And the Brajvasis, they are unique characters. They use very colorful language, and they're always trying to do something. Right? Sometimes they'll try to cheat you. Sometimes they'll try to curse you. So 2-3 days you're able to say, okay, that Vancha Kalpataru. After that, you're like, because you yourself have a strong material component, then you start reacting to it. Or you get upset at the monkeys, or you get just upset that there is so much dust and so much heat there. So generally the mood, the same mood that we have for Radha Kund, the same mood we should preserve when we enter the dham or visit any part of the dham. For Radha Kund, it's specially recommended just because of the special position of Radha Kund. The Radha Kund is considered to be the body of Srimati Radharani. Right? Krishna may forgive offenses to himself, but not to Srimati Radharani. So that's why there is this special. And practically speaking, Prabhu, the devotees who live by Radha Kund, not just ISKCON devotees, but general devotees who live, they're in a different class. They're very, very exalted, very renounced, very, very focused. Apparently, those who are not, they're not able to live. Even though they may build a bhajan kutir or they may rent a house, but the arrangement is that if they don't have that purity, they leave there. So I had the good fortune a few years ago of being able to associate some of the devotees in Radha Kund, and you see that difference, in their simplicity, commitment that you have. So you get a sense also how special the place is.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Naradi Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much. It was a lovely journey, and I'm gonna definitely miss it. I'm feeling already like the anxiety that it's the last session today for this. But I'm very grateful that we joined, and very, very thankful to you that we were able to do this. So I just wanted to, like the conversation we had, I just wanted to ask one thing, like, so what about the Brajvasis? They are born there, so they live there. So is that like extreme good fortune? You need to be born there? And what about the aparadhas that they might commit by when you said like they are also cheating, or like, I mean, they must be extremely fortunate to be there born. So can you elaborate? Like, I don't know what to.
It's a good question. Srila Prabhupada was asked this because when the devotees started living in Vrindavan, then Prabhupada at one point, he glorified the Vrajvasis, that they're all eternal associates and special, very, very special. And then the devotees started coming back and said, this Vrajvasi cheated me, this Vrajvasi cursed me, this Vrajvasi did whatever. And at least to them, Prabhupada said that don't interact with them. That still holds true. Even to this day, the devotees don't interact a lot with the local population because that mood is a little difficult to understand. In fact, unknowingly, you will commit offenses. Like, I don't know if you've gone to Vrindavan, one thing you notice is that the language used by Vrajvasis is very, very colorful. They use, actually, this was, we were doing Govardhan Parikrama, and we had stopped at a shop to buy something. And he looked at us, he knew we were ISKCON, Prabhuji this, Prabhuji that. And then he would turn and talk to the other person sitting next to him. And then he was using, like, without realizing, he was using all kinds of languages. So I'm from Delhi, and I've heard a lot of very colorful language, but it was beyond, even for me. It was, and I went to an engineering college where you even have even more. But and then he looked at me, and my expression was a little bewildered. Then he looked at me and he said, "Prabhuji, don't pay a lot of attention to what I say. Even I don't realize what I'm saying. This just, only when I saw your expression did I realize that I was speaking like that." But he did say one thing important. He said that never judge us by what we speak. Don't judge us. And Srila Prabhupada said something very, very similar. Don't judge them because you can't understand their mood. Their love for Krishna is difficult for others to understand. But having said that, Prabhupada also said that there are Vrajvasis who are doing sinful activities. And that's where he said that those who are born in Vrajvas, in Vrindavan, do sinful activities. They take birth as dogs and hogs. And still in Vrindavan, they're born as monkeys and pigs and dogs. And then they get another opportunity. After suffering, they get another opportunity. But all this is under Krishna's control, like not really the law of karma, it's mostly Krishna. And this is actually, Mataji, this is true for most of the dhams. Most of the dhams. I was listening to Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj's lecture, and he speaks a lot about Purushottam Dham, Jagannath Puri, right? And he was mentioning, I forget the reference, but he was saying that when the denizens of the heavenly planets look down upon Purushottam Dham, then every individual over there appears to them in a four-armed form. So that's the potency of the Dham.
Wonderful.
Now,
Yes.
I was talking to another devotee in Vrindavan who was not a Western devotee, not born in Vrindavan. He was giving me some other quotes saying that if you live for more than 7 years in a dham, then you're considered to be a dhamvasi. You're considered to be as good as. Now, he had lived for more than 7 years in Vrindavan, so to some extent was self-serving. But he was quoting some sources saying that if you live for more than 7 years in a dham, then you're non-different from a person who was born in the dham. He was also encouraging me to move to Vrindavan.
What is your take? Are you going to move, Prabhuji?
I have a few years till my retirement. I will not move to Vrindavan because Vrindavan has become very, very commercial. Right? We went to Vrindavan just a few months ago. Actually, when I was in India in July, we went to Vrindavan, and it's an austerity. There are so many. Most of the people from Delhi, they have a name for this. It's something like a spiritual, like spiritual entertainment. So they drive from Delhi. They have this Yamuna Expressway, high speed. So it takes them less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
They go to Banki Bihari. They take darshan. They go to Brijbasi. They will eat chola bhatura over there. And then, they have a lot of these people, they have apartments that they rent in their Hare Krishna orchards or whatever, and they have party over there. So the outskirts, Vrindavan is dry, right? So Vrindavan, you can't sell liquor. Right. But what they have done is just outside Vrindavan, just behind the Krishna Balram temple, they have incorporated that area into Govardhan. And Govardhan, the city, you can sell liquor. So just 1 kilometer from Krishna Balram temple, now all these wine shops have come up. So these people, they take darshan in there, they will eat Brajbasis, they will go to the wine shop, they will buy liquor, and then they will go somewhere, they will have another party, and next day they go back to Delhi. That's their itinerary. So Vrindavan, no, but Govardhan is actually coming up very well. And I was talking to Ram Tulsi Mataji, knows Rajbihari Prabhu very well. He's actually developing a retreat center in Govardhan. And I know that they have actually houses that they're building over there, very, very nice. So that's one option. But I still have a few years to my retirement, so wait and see.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yes, Amrita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving the opportunity, even though I was not able to join during the starting time. Even though it was late, you accepted me. And I openly confess that I asked you the questions before you left June. I don't want to, I took it casually, maybe given a lot of excuses. My laptop just crashed and I didn't want to open in my mobile. And finally, when Hindulaka Mataji just, forcefully asked me, within a day, I prepared. And even I was not looking like there's multiple questions. Like you gave the opportunity, do 2 questions out of 3, 4, unless until Vamsi, the Prabhuji, he mentioned there's a lot of options, Bhaya Prabhuji gave a lot of opportunity, or in a sense, like, made easy for us. Then I realized I wrote all the answer. So I hopefully this time I'll take maybe maximum by this Sunday, I'll complete this. But I don't have any words the way you and Indulaka Mataji are nurturing us. And finally, after a long time, although chastisement, I am able to finish this Bhakti Sastri course.
Thank you, Mataji. So Indulekha is in charge she's the head of the Department of Chastisement, right? She takes care of that part.
I love,
It's difficult for me to do that, but I do want to add that the Bhakti Sastri course, I think the person who benefited the most was me, because 3/4 of the presentations were done by the students, by the participants. And it was enlightening for me to see we are all Prabhupada followers, but we also have our individual mood. Right? And that's what makes us wonderful. That's what makes the movement so resilient also. And so it's not that we are simply parroting something. And that's one of the main reasons that I wanted student participation to be at least 60%. And it was actually turned out to be more like 75%, but I wanted to be at least 60% because the variety that comes from the realization of the individual presenters, that's what gives us a perspective that there is so much nectar in this, and even while staying within the confines of what the Shastra says, what Guru says, we can practice Krishna consciousness in a way that is most nurturing to our particular gunas, our nature, our situation. Some of us are brahmacharis, grahasthas, vanaprasthas, right? So I saw that come up. I saw how Mataji's presented a little different from Prabhuji's. Prabhuji's were more analytical, Mataji's were more from the heart, more emotional. I also noticed that the devotees who were practicing for a longer time, their focus was more on the practical implementation. And the relatively younger, newer devotees, they were more analytical, that, oh, this verse means this verse means that. So it's the transformation of Gyan to Vigyan that comes with years of practice. So actually, like I said, I'm the one that benefited the most, and I wanted to thank each one of you for putting up with me, for being sincere and doing your assignments and presenting. And I noticed the discussion in the WhatsApp group, the sharing of the information. So it's truly inspiring for me. So thank you very much.
Prabhuji, I'll take maybe one or more, 2 more minutes. I would like to add one point here. Completely agree the way you gave each and everyone the opportunity to read, and whenever we study for ourselves, sometimes we are not so much getting benefit, but whenever we study for the presentations or for purpose of teaching, then we go deep dive, like we do deep dive. And no offense, like I don't have any bitterness, but as this session was getting delayed, so I joined with your permission one group in Bangalore. The way the exam, like every class should be in video and everyone are supposed to on the video, that was okay. But just listening to the teacher and the exam, I got kind of scared. It was like BTech or MTech kind of things, one semester exam. I was kind of crying because 1 month thorough preparations with Aditi per day, 4-5 hours, and 15 sloka, 8 sloka, active go, closing the eyes and recording the like video. It was horrible for me. If I'm remembering 3-4 sloka, 5th sloka, I'm forgetting one line, one word kind of. So I did couple of times 10 takes to perfect that session. So that was the need, because their expectation was whoever completing the Bhakti Shastra, they can be the preacher. But for me, it was a nightmare. And 2.5 hours to 3 hours exam, and my right hand was broken. I can't write. So it was so painful for me. I tried to explain my situations, but it was only, and the exam would be video. All the candidates will be in the video. The question paper will not given. They will publish. We have to see on the screen. We have to answer within 10 minutes after the time. We have to give the PDF. That was kind of austerity, but it was a nightmare for me though.
Yeah, I think different courses, at least the way I know. So I personally, I took the Bhakti Shastri certification twice. I did it 2 times, and I've taught it 3 times. This is the 3rd time that I'm teaching it. So my take is that, and you will experience this yourself, that having a Bhakti Shastri degree will do 2 things to you. One is that you will keep going back and reading those books again. So this is not the fact that you ended, like in a conventional exam in school. Some students, when they pass a class, they will take the books and they will make a bonfire or throw it away. Right? Just that now I don't have books again. But in this, I can guarantee you the 4 books you will keep going back again. And the second is that it builds a lot of confidence. That's what Srila Prabhupada wanted. That instead of saying that I feel, I think, and maybe, now you're speaking as a Bhakti Shastri graduate, that in the 7th chapter, 14th verse, Krishna says this. In Bhagavad Gita, this is said, and it is substantiated in nectar of instructions, right? So these things will continue to build. Bhakti Shastri is by no means an end. It's a certification that now you're basically starting to be what Srila Prabhupada envisaged as devotees, to be strong in faith and strong in knowledge. Right? So I personally, I had one point basically debated with BOEX that attendance should be the criteria by which a person should get the degree, not the exam. So I'm from India. We all grew up, honing this art of passing exams, right? You figure out these are, there are 16 questions, and the original question is this. So if you, out of these 50 questions, if you do 30 questions, you will get 80% of it right and you will pass, right? So we grew up with that environment, and we can pass any exam. It's not a big problem, right? That's how the Indian education system trains us. And I said, let's not have exams. Let's just have attendance, let's have discussion, participation, and then give certification. Now, obviously, they didn't accept my proposal. But and this is not because of me, but I do see that the focus now is moving more and more to group participation, individual participation, to project kind of work. Students enjoy it more, they learn more from it. I guess exams will stay because this is what so the person that I was talking to, she was part of the original group of the Board of Education. So she sent me a quote from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, where he specifically he says the opposite actually. He says that Bhakti Shastri is meant for certified by writing exam. And so his position is that you don't even have to attend a single class. As long as you clear the exam, it's fine. That was his move. And who am I to argue with Bhaktisiddhanta? So they're kind of doing what I would consider is like the medium. Exams will be there, but what I anticipate is that the weightage to the exams will decline, and there'll be more weightage to student participation, student realization. Okay, I see Shaktiman Prabhu has his hand raised for a while. Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. I don't have any questions, but I would like to express my sincere gratitude for these wonderful sessions, and thank you for being our instructor. I personally learned so many things. This Bhakti Sastri, and from all of us from Fort Lauderdale, we would like to invite you. Please visit us soon, and we can have your association physically. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very happy to have you. And yes, thank you so much.
I was going to say the same thing. Shaktiman Prabhu, I didn't know that if I can say this in the public forum, but Shaktiman Prabhu has said it. So, Bhaya Prabhu, please do plan to visit Fort Lauderdale.
Absolutely. It's on my list of things to do.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Ajit Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, once again along the same lines, thank you so very much for this wonderful journey and experience and confidence boosting course. And I think the way you explain things, I could not have expected anything better. This was really good, and the knowledge that kind of flowed from all of your presentations was very, very eye-opening. And in addition to that, I mean, everybody in the class, I mean, I learned so much from the participants, and people's realizations and so forth. And quite honestly, I mean, I didn't have that expectation coming into the course, not as a reflection of the caliber of the participants, but more as my expectation for the course would be like, the instructor led and you're done, so I think you handled it really, really well by encouraging participants to share their realizations. And I think the collective wisdom of all the Vaishnavas is just something that I will always cherish. So thank you very much, Prabhu. And of course, since everybody's brought up the topic of hosting you, I mean, if you ever visit Atlanta, we'll be more than happy to host you as well. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. And a point very well made that the participation was, to be honest with you, when the class started, there were close to about 55 participants in the class. And then when we started the class and we started this format of participants, then at least half a dozen devotees dropped out, because their point was that we joined the class to hear from you, not from the peers, because we are all at the learning at the same level. So we would rather invest our time in hearing from you, and as opposed to from others. So at least I know 6 devotees that dropped out, 6-7 devotees that dropped out for that reason. I did not want to change the format because I was confident that the collective realization far exceeds the realization of an individual. And like I said, I'm very, very happy. I'm very happy with the way everybody took their presentations seriously, thought about it. Not just the beautiful slides that they prepared, but the way that everything was presented. You can see that they added their own blend of masala to it, right? Everybody can cook aloo sabji, but everything is a little different, and that's what makes it beautiful, right? So I'm very happy with my decision that at least in some way I was vindicated. And hearing you also, I think it kind of reinforces that. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Kamal Kishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. I really want to thank you, Prabhu, from my heart that it is not possible without your coaching. and also folklorical devotees. Most of us are here in this class, so definitely you have to visit us, Prabhu. Also, I wanted to say that all of them were supporting each other by giving their notes, their questions, like Ram Tulsi Mataji, Gayatri Mataji, Chitra Gopi Mataji, Bhakti Vinod Prabhu. All of them shared, and it really helped and motivated. Even if we were slacking, when we see the other person is doing, and we were catching up and trying to do our best. So it was all the glories to you and the devotees, Prabhu. I will definitely miss all these classes and your association, Prabhu. Somewhere or the other, keep us, give us some classes or association in future, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Haribol.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Gayatri Mataji?
Hare Krishna, I just wanted to express my gratitude for this entire course, for investing your time and your knowledge in us. I really appreciate the Bhagavad Gita study was so much profound. I understood it more profoundly than before, than I just read it for the first time. The other 3 books were completely new to me, so I'm really glad I read them under your supervision. And again, I just want to express gratitude for all the time and for all the bhakti that you gave us, and for all your presentations that you made, and also for the investing the responsibility into us, into delegating this duty to make the presentations. With this presentation, as I was able to even know the devotees who I knew before. Like I felt like through their presentations, I could know better their personalities. So I really appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gayatri Mataji. And I think for the benefit of the class, I do want to share that Gayatri has really, she did a really special service, which is helping me in the administration of the course also. And at the risk of embarrassing her, I do want to share one thing, that once I forget which exam it was, but I marked up her exam and sent it to her. And then she wrote back to me trying to convince me to reduce her marks, saying that, well, I should not get that many marks. I should get this mark, so many marks. And I was trying to convince her, no, this is there. So finally, we kind of ended up somewhere in between. So, so I'm grateful to have students of your caliber, devotees who, who's also so firm in their own devotion and integrity, and all the help that you have given me in the ongoing course. Truly grateful for it. Thank you. Okay, so we have Ajit Krishna, and after that we will end. I do realize I'm way over time. Please go ahead, Prabhu. Okay, maybe Prabhu didn't lower his hand. I think his hand may be raised from earlier on. Okay, so then at this point we'll end. The WhatsApp group is still going to be around for Prabhu did. Okay.
No, I didn't. No. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, so we will end over here. Like I said, the WhatsApp group will be there for at least a month. At least I will be there for another month. It can definitely stay another way for the devotees to be connected. I look forward to all of you submitting your exam, last exam or whatever pending exam in the next month, and I will, like I said, I don't rank the students, but I will share a list of our Bhakti Sastri graduates with the group as a way for us to celebrate each other's success. So we'll end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
so much.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Very
everyone.
grateful.